Hey everyone, and welcome back to this week's Your Weekly Therapy podcast. My name is Tell Williams, or Mr. Williams on social media. I am a therapist, a teacher, a social worker, and tired. And over here we have
I'm Anne-Marie DiPietro, and I'm still a nurse practitioner.
like a Lisa Frank one.
You know, when you said we were going to do a Pride episode, I was like, what do I have? And then I was like, I literally can't find anything, which is like not okay. I can't even imagine the amount of stuff I actually have if I can find it.
I have said so many times, and I'm still sticking with this, that you should do an estate sale.
I mean, we're going to have to. Colleen's like starting to pack and stuff, and I'm like, this is it. We're just not in a good place.
Yeah. you have to just do it. Like, pack what you know for sure you don't want to sell, and then you get it out of the house. And then as you like take the other stuff and put like tags on it, right, of like how much it is, then if there's stuff that you're like, oh my God, I didn't know where this was, but I don't want to sell it, then you just like, again, you take it out. It is a process. People like get paid to do this. Like they take like a small percentage of it, but it's like people get paid all the time to do this.
We gotta.
You should do it. Because you can make bank. Something. I don't know. You can make bank doing it. I'm just saying.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
During Pride Month, you know?
Yeah, during Pride Month.
During Pride Month.
I'm too busy, like, 3D printing estrogen pills.
Oh, my gosh. I, like, laughed sorry because I thought, at first, I'm not going to lie, we're doing a Pride event in Delco Pride.
No better place to do Pride than Delco.
I've never been to Delco Pride.
I've never been to Delco Pride either, but Delco Pride is in Upper Darby in literally Colleen's old stomping grounds, like where she grew up, like the true heart of Delco.
I've gone to Chesco.
Probably not as good as Delco.
I can imagine. I'm looking forward to it. To the gay water and everything.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I guess people like not from Pennsylvania listen, so we should probably clarify what Delco is.
Delco is Delaware County.
Yeah. So, like, what was that show with Kate Winslet?
The Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah, The Mayor of Easttown. So that was based in Delco. Well, they actually shot a lot of it in Chester County and Coatesville, but the accents were all Delco. And Kate Winslet has said that the Delco accent is the hardest accent she's ever had to do.
There was, like, an interview where she was talking about how she was, like, in her dressing room and, like, threw her script to the wall or something like that. Like, literally, like, tantrum because she's like, I can't get this. And I'm like, girl... I can't even get enough to like, make fun of it.
Because it makes no sense. Like, it doesn't have any rules. And it's so funny, like, how much I must have grown up in the heart of Delco because it was literally, I was like maybe 34 years old when I realized all the words that I say wrong. It was actually when my niece in St. Louis like started to be able to talk. And she was like, Amy, why do you say mad wrong? Why do you say bad? And I was like, what do you mean?
Is everything like so spread? Mad?
Like, I don't, like, mad, bad. They say that I say home and boat wrong, too. Boat.
It's just, like, it's definitely an accent.
Water,
like,
obviously.
Yeah,
but...
I had heard nothing like it until I moved here.
Really?
Nothing like it. And I was like, what is this?
Do you hear it when I talk?
Not as, I've, like, acclimated a lot to it since I've been here. And there's some things that, like, a Midwestern accent's very close to. Like, we kind of spread the, like, when we're talking. Like, or, like, how do you say mom?
Mom.
Yeah. So, like, there's, like, very similarities.
And, like, we say, like, horrible.
Horrible. Instead of horrible?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never, I don't think I've ever said horrible. That's too hard to say.
Really?
Yeah, that's
horrible. In
horrible.
St. Louis, that's how they say it.
Oh, that's too tricky for me. My mouth doesn't want to make that movement, you know.
Yeah.
Shocking, but so we're gonna go to Delco Pride, and Anne-Marie was like printing a bunch of like fun stuff for our desk, and when you showed me the like estrogen pill, is like a worry stone?
No, it's gonna be a keychain.
Oh,
but I'm making a box too.
I literally thought that was I thought you were showing me like a pill you have to take or something.
Like a silk rainbow pill.
I was like, I don't know. Maybe they make them pretty. But I was like, that is a big fucking pill.
Oh my God.
I'm like, girl, that better be a suppository because I could not be swallowing that. That was like.
I cannot. outrageously large.
It was like the size of a beta fish. I was
really
like, this is insane. But I got a giggle for it. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, and these earrings are an Amory original as well.
I know. I have to wear one when we get to the...
Yeah, I'll custom print you one.
Thank you.
That's whatever you wanted to say.
That's what Pride's all about.
Custom printing.
Custom printing and wearing gay shit. I mean, this is... I don't know what it says, actually. It's something about... I don't know, diversity, straight, something.
We have to decide what shorts we're going to wear because I ordered the paint, too.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to paint rainbow shorts.
I'm so excited. Like Daisy Duke.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Right?
This is... So, every Pride, I feel like we talk about, is it the rainbow tax or whatever? Like when corporations are like, oh, my God, we love the gays. I will say, it's real quiet this year.
I heard that.
Yeah, like I'm like, usually there's a bunch of brands that reach out to like my agent and stuff, and I'm like, it's super quiet.
It was quiet last year too, but I think this year's even quieter.
Yeah, so I'm like super.
I heard Target's also like.
Well, yeah, because they already cut their DEI shit before, and now that they know that like that, you know, more than not marginalized people aren't shopping there right now. Like I think it just like shows like even further of.
I think like they usually have a pretty large Pride collection.
Huge.
There's nothing right now.
And I wanted to go. So I love going through and like ranking how good or bad they are. And there's a bunch of accounts, thank God, that do that, because then I can be like, okay, and like whether or not we should just support it anyways. Like this is Levi, I think, and they've always been like tried and true. And I think it says, in my opinion, even more this year what companies do Pride stuff, because like more than ever, I think it's more of a statement now, in a good one. So like, I mean, Steve Madden the other day was talking about how much like the tariffs suck and Trump sucks and all these things, and I immediately bought a pair of shoes. Like, I will fuck with that. Like, the second that I know that your company, like, politically at least is supporting, someone's gonna be like, Steve Madden's shoes are made by, and I'm like, okay, but baby, let me have this.
Right. Michael Kors always does a Pride collection. Yeah. Nike does a Pride collection usually.
I have to go through.
But like, here's the thing: a lot of these Pride collections, like, you have to like look at it to tell that it's Pride. Sure. And my thing is like, I want it to be like a giant rainbow.
I like so.
Like, why am I going to buy a pair of Nikes that has a tiny little flag in the back?
Right, in the back.
Yeah.
Or it's like. Even I loved the shorts that you showed me yesterday.
Oh, I'm so mad about it.
I did find a pair on eBay.
Yeah.
But they were like tiny.
I know. I found an extra small.
Yeah. I was like, this is insane. But even then, I was like, okay, they are cute though. I think it's kind of like strange when it's like they don't do the rainbow in order then, because it's like it's kind of almost like a got you moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But those shorts were so cute that I couldn't be like mad about it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh no, I really like these. And I think those were obviously Pride ones, but you know what I mean? Like the ones that are like, try to go incognito with it. Gotcha.
Right.
You know?
Right. The reason I like those shorts is because it did like the rainbow flag, and then it did the trans flag, and it had like all of the colors. So it's like delineates Pride versus like just rainbow.
Yeah. That's what I liked. I was like, because it's obviously like a Pride.
Yeah.
You know, short. But I was thinking, what is like an energy that you're not going to like fuck with for this Pride? Like, what is something that you're like, I'm not claiming that. Mine's Benson Boone. Like, I think we're bamboozled, but
I'm like really not okay about JoJo Siwa.
Well, girl, you bought me us tickets.
But okay, we're going. It's gonna be great. But I mean, maybe we could just offer some guidance when we meet her.
I feel like the only thing I'm like about the situation is that she was partnered during that time. Like, you can be sexually fluid and like, you know, I totally get that. Whatevs. Like, have at it. Date whoever you want to date. What love is love, you know? I just don't like that there was a lot of, it seemed like shady stuff happening when she was with someone. And that's like, that's not a look.
Yeah. Well, and then did you hear that she broke up with them? The partner she was dating is non-binary. She's friends with, JoJo Siwa is friends with G Flip, and then G Flip introduced her to the ex-partner.
Okay.
So they, meaning the ex-partner, flew to, I think, UK, right? That's where Big Brother was. For the like rap party, and JoJo broke up with them during the party. Mm-hmm. During it, while new boyfriend is in the other room. Mm-hmm.
That is very like middle school.
Yeah.
And
so I'm trying to think of what their name is. Kath. So Kath did like this long TikTok video about it that they took down. So like I didn't get to see it, but I saw recaps.
That's horrible.
Yeah, they were really upset. I would be really upset.
If I flew all the way to the UK.
I hope that G Flip has Kath's back.
I hope that like there's just a conversation of like, hey, maybe because I think the hard thing would be like to see it. First of all,
also JoJo didn't own it. You know what I mean?
Also, like Big Brother's live,
right?
They're not pre-recording that.
No.
So like, did Kath not watch?
No, they did. And, like, I think they went there, like, already upset about the emotional cheating. You know?
I mean, it was, I didn't watch it, but, like, the clips I saw, like, they were, like, cuddling in bed, weren't they? Like, I don't know. That's a little bit more than emotional cheating.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, Kath used the words emotional cheating, but whatever. I mean, my thing is, like, JoJo was talking about her sexuality being fluid, or I think she was also talking about like how she wanted to identify. And she said something about like using all pronouns, whatever. But like it was never in the context of like, I'm thinking all of this because of these feelings I'm developing with this relationship. And to me, that just feels like disingenuous.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, are you like setting the stage for all that so then you can do this like soft launch after Big Brother ends, like with this dude? Like, I don't know.
There's this like, and this is not giving excuses to it. So I want to say that first. Okay. But I feel like as like queer people, we didn't get to grow up and have the milestones that everyone else did, right? Like, like truly date who we wanted to date and have those moments, or date at all, because some people just don't date at all. And so I feel like we do shitty things that people did when they were 15 that we do as adults, and it's like we're too old for this kind of thing, because it's like it's not. It's hard because as an adult we should know it's shitty even if we don't do it, but it's like we didn't like actually interpersonally feel that at like 15. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think it's like an excuse at all, but it's like something that like, because you can sit there and be like, if I emotionally cheat or get really emotionally invested in this other person while the whole world and my partner is watching, that's shitty, 100%. That's why I was like, that's like middle school behavior, because like that's shit people did in middle school. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, it's just like strange to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think back about like the shitty things I did, like when I was like coming out and like trying to like figure shit out. And I'm like, that's why I tell people all the time, you could not pay me to go back to my 20s. And I was like, oh my God, I loved my 20s. I'm like, I didn't feel like I was a like great person. Like I feel like I was like so repressed being like gay boy in Northern Indiana, you know, like super conservative space, that I was like, went like buck wild in college. And then I just didn't feel like I was very nice. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I came out when I was 23 or 24. So my whole college was just like.
Did you like we've talked about it a little bit before, right? And we've had like an episode of this like previously, but I always think it's like fun to like redo episodes from a different standpoint, especially like now that you're like married, because the last time we did a Pride episode, you weren't yet. When did you like? Because you were like a late bloomer gay.
Yes.
Like when you were like, oh shit, like no, like I'm gay. Like how long was it until you like came out?
So, I would say it was like out to everyone probably 2 years.
Okay.
My ex fiance Lauren, who actually, me and Colleen actually went to brunch with Lauren and her wife like last year. So it was like such a full circle moment. Yeah. I loved it, and I'm pretty sure our wives hated it.
Yeah, they're oh god, that's so funny though.
Yeah, but Lauren's awesome, and she's actually the one ex I'll like never say anything negative about ever. But anyways, so we were together probably for like a year, like on and off, because I was like, no, I'm not gay. Just kidding.
I was just joking.
No, we were
just fun.
This was just a joke. No, like I'm going back to men now. And then I think it was 2013, the spring of 2013, when I was like, okay, I'm going to admit this. And then I told Molly, and then the rest is history.
Was it hard?
Telling Molly?
Yeah.
Not telling Molly. I knew Molly was going to be like, yeah, whatever, I already know.
She was like, oh my God, I'm shocked.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, telling my parents was horrific. Yeah. They didn't speak to me for a long time.
Isn't it an odd feeling to have parents? Well, because, I mean, yeah, my mom was Catholic and such, and your family is. To have parents that, like, didn't respond the best, but then came around.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the weirdest feeling.
I remember. Do you remember that video, the YouTube video where the mom was giving the speech at the wedding, the Golden Buddha? Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember watching that and like sobbing my eyes out, thinking to myself like, "Oh my God, this is like never gonna happen for me." And then like at me and Colleen's wedding, like. I remember sitting there when my dad was talking, being like, oh, my God, it happened.
Yeah.
Like, and then when my parents gave me a very large check for the wedding, I was like, now we've made it.
Oh, my God. They really approved. Yeah. Yeah. It was so, like, funny the times that we've just, like, talked about, like, you coming out to your parents and, like, that process. And then being at your wedding, like, there was, like, a moment of we were in what later would be like where they put the desserts, and the dress that Anne Marie wore was stunning. It had instructions. Her wedding dress had. I'm not joking. It had it had a video instruction thing. But me and Kelly had to like put you in it. It was heavy.
It was so heavy.
Yeah.
How many times did you have to crawl up under it and pull my Spanx out?
That's the rumor, and I thought to myself, I'm under this dress. You can't even see me, by the way, because it's huge.
There was a steel hoop, so there was room for him under the dress.
And I was like pulling up your Spanx because they kept everything just was like sliding down. And it was so funny because I thought to myself, I'm down there. I'm like, her parents are here watching me do this at her gay wedding. And they're just like... And just having a blast. Like, I was like, this is so funny.
You're so sweet.
Funny. Yeah. And, like, your mom, like, and dad, like, getting, like, teary-eyed when you walked out and, like, calling in and stuff. I was like, oh, my God, this is a full moment.
It was wild. It really was. I still can't believe it, like, when I think about it.
Yeah.
Because I was always, like, so nervous that, like, my parents, even if they came to a wedding, like, wouldn't invite any of their friends. That was, like, my biggest fear. And I remember, like, the one day, like, crying to my dad, like, it was probably, like, a couple years before Colleen and I got engaged, being like, I know that, like, you're not going to want to invite anyone and whatever. And my dad was like, that's not true. Like, that's whatever. Yeah. And I was just, like, shocked.
Because they definitely did.
Yeah. I was like, I can't. And, like, all of their friends were, like, so sweet. And, it, like, actually, ironically, I think maybe I told this before. I don't know. But when my parents sent out, like, my parents' hard launch of me and Colleen was the wedding invitation. Yeah, the save the dates.
That's so
funny. That was my parents' hard launch. So, like, one of their friends called them up, like, when they got the save the date and told them that one of their kids was gay. These people have been friends for, how old's my dad? 50 years.
And he was like, oh, by the way, my kid's gay too.
Yeah.
Isn't that, it's so interesting to me. Like, and I love that, like, that moment happened of like, hey, we're in a club.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But like a good club.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think that's like, I don't know. It's like a healing moment, but it's also, we've talked before about like.
But it's also really sad too.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Like whenever I have parents that come in for therapy, like, that have queer kids, or like I had a client that like literally we worked together for a year on them coming out. And I'd said to them, like, I know my parents love me this and this. I was like, I would tell them and then let them know that, like, if they have questions or want to talk about it, let's, like, wait a day. And I tell parents that all the time. Like, they're like, I'm pretty sure that my kid's gay. And I'm like, okay, like, the important thing to remember is that whatever you say, while you can sit there and be like, I don't feel that way anymore, or I was just upset or whatever, you can never take it back because they heard it. And I think that's such an important thing of, like, you can be just... You are entitled to feel however you want to feel, but know that your reaction and what you say is always going to be like remembered. And it doesn't mean that like a grudge is going to be held, but it's just I'll remember that was my mom's response was, this is more devastating than my dad dying. And my mom, I think I told you, like, quite literally had a mental breakdown and had to go to the hospital when my grandpa died. And then told me it was like I was in a burning house and she couldn't get me out. I'm like, Betty, that's fucked. You love Ricky Martin, as a Puerto Rican. And then it literally took like my first breakup, and for her to see that I was like in love with, the person, and her to be like, oh, wait, no, this isn't like this sexual deviant thing that I was, told to believe it was. Like, this is like a genuine emotional thing. And I'm like, yep. And then she was like, great after that. My dad was always great. My dad was waiting for me to come out, he said, since I was like 2.
Yeah. Yeah. No, neither of my parents were okay at all. But my grandmom and my nana actually, so my parents and I didn't speak from like May through October.
Wow.
And my grandmom like actually reached out to me herself. And like my nana was like talking to my mom the whole time, and they were both basically like, you can't
keep doing
do this.
Yeah.
Like, you have to like be more accepting and whatever. And so my grandmom was actually the one that was like, I think you need to reach out to your mom at some point. And I was like, I think I want to like text her or whatever. And my grandmom was like, oh, she's not ready for that right now. And I knew that was my in, because I knew if I could be like, grandmom told me you weren't ready, my mom would be like, oh,
yeah, yes, I am.
Yes, I am, So ultimately that did work. But at first, so that was in October. They did the whole like, well, we want a relationship with you, but like we don't want to talk about like your life with Lauren, blah, blah. We don't want to talk about Lauren. Like Lauren's not welcome, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, it's for like a few weeks, and then it was going to be Thanksgiving. Now, Lauren didn't have any parents alive. Her dad died when she was 14, and her mom died by suicide when she was 18.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, Lauren's story. We should have like a whole like moment on Lauren's like comeback story. She would probably never do it, but it's actually really amazing. But regardless, Lauren only had or has one sister. So like holidays, number one, are like not easy, but number two, like, look, what was I going to do? You know what I mean? Be like, oh, well, sit at home. I gotta go with the family.
Yeah.
So I said to my parents, like, if Lauren's not welcome, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't think they thought I was going to not come. But I was like, well, I'm not coming. So I didn't go. And I think we ended up going to one of my friends' family's houses that Thanksgiving. And then I still like kept talking to my parents, like just, like normal, like talking, like we didn't really see each other that much. And then Christmas Eve, I always cook, like my grandmom taught me all like the 7 fishes. And I'm the only one that knows the recipes, right? And it's like my dad and my brother's like favorite day of the year, and I always cook. So I said that I would cook still. I was like, I'll do that, but I'm not coming over on Christmas was my thing. So I went to pick up the bacala from my mom's house, which is a salted codfish that she had gotten for me. And I was pulling out of the driveway, and she got like teary-eyed, and she was like, Thanksgiving without you was horrible. It was the day before Christmas Eve, and I want you to bring Lauren to Christmas Eve tomorrow. And I was like, excuse me, what? And from that moment on, like my mom didn't speak to me for a week after I broke up with Lauren because she said she lost a daughter.
Well, I think...
But let me just say she's obsessed with Colleen. I have to say that. Colleen will be like, what? My mom's never been obsessed with another human more than she's obsessed with Colleen.
It's because Colleen's so sweet. Like, we stan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's this weird thing where I feel like as parents do get older, it's like there's sometimes like a moment of that realization,
mm-hmm.
right? Or just as people get older in general. Because I feel like the like brain elasticity of like, no, I can change my opinion or mind, or like I have been super depressed and lonely and all these things, and like I don't want that for other people. You know, like
mm-hmm.
they know what regret and living in that way feels like. And I know it's strange. Like I also think it's hard because like at least for a gay man, you know, the generation like that's like one over me is like the oldest, right? Like we lost an entire generation, you know, to the AIDS crisis. So like it's strange to like, I don't know, it's like our families are being like exposed to like queer people being able to live out a full lifetime and being like, oh wait, maybe my perspective is changing a bit. It's just strange to see.
Yeah.
I guess out queer people. Obviously they existed before before then. But yeah, it's weird. It's like I don't know. It's a conundrum, I feel like. And I'm glad that I am hearing more stories about like parents being a little bit more accepting.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a couple things like with my story. I mean, my parents have come so far. Like I could never say like enough good things about like the way my parents have turned things around, the way they've supported me and the way they've supported Colleen and both of us together. But I do think that me setting the boundary when they weren't speaking to me, I think if I didn't do that, it would not have ended the same way.
If I wouldn't have set the boundary and distanced myself from my mom and moved away to college that year, right? Like my freshman year, I was the first in our family to like go away to college. I don't think she would have come around because she was like calling my best friend every day and was like, Telly's not calling me. Telly's not texting me. And they call me Telly. I don't know why. No, I do, but whatever. And my friend Tana's like, you said some pretty horrific shit to him. And my mom was like I think I told you the story about my parents did not pay for any of my college, but what they did do is the university I went to IPFW in Fort Wayne. They didn't have a cafeteria there, so we didn't have like meal plans. You had the student housing was apartment style, so you had kitchens in your apartment. That is wild to go from 18, you know, well, I had just turned 18 too. I'm very young for my class. Never cooking a day in my goddamn life to like having a kitchen have to cook. So what my parents did do is they would buy me groceries. So I would like go home every like 2 weeks, or they'd like put money in my account or whatever. But I would probably go home like once a month. And I had gone home and got groceries and had them in the bags, put them in my car, went back to school. And when I was taking them out, my mom had put one of those mini Bibles that we've talked about that you get at the fair. And I was like, she's fucking with me. Like, Betty.
Oh my God.
What is this?
Betty.
It was wild. And I was like, okay. But like, I think that distance and like my mom and I were best friends. I think like not, and like I came out right before my 18th birthday. Well, I was outed by my school principal, but was out. And I think like not wanting to celebrate that with her was like a moment too, because that was her birthday as well. Like we have the same birthday. I think that distance, I think you're right. I think like when you set that boundary and you're close to your family and they're like, oh, I am not able, not to like walk all over them, but like I'm not able just to kind of bulldoze and be like, nope, this is how it's going to be. And you're just still going to come around all the time and you're just going to have to listen to these rules. Sorry. And like, no, you don't get to like know half of me and not the other half of me. Like, and I think that's a huge moment for accepting parents.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I do think, you know, there are certainly scenarios where like families can't be mended and families don't come around. But I think in a lot of cases, like, there is unconditional love there. But like, if you allow the family to dictate like what they're okay with, there's no motivation for them to get uncomfortable.
Yeah. Or like, I've noticed a lot of projection of what the parent's going to feel or what they will and won't be comfortable with. And when they read your uncomfortability as like being standoff, it's like this snowball effect I've noticed quite a bit. And I'm like, have you just like sat down and talked to them? Because like, I know, like, I have a concept, like, I know I'll never be able to take like, when I get a significant other on like vacations or anything, like, I just like, I'm knowing like for the rest of my life, like, they won't be around for holidays. And this, I said, oh, did your parents say that? And they're like, no. I was like, what indicators did they show? Well, I guess not really. I'm like, because you also thought they wouldn't be very accepting of you, and they were wildly accepting. So it's just like, it's weird kind of I can't even say it's like internalized homophobia, but that like that rejection that we're so afraid of, and we put it on them and then just like let it snowball. It's like, well, has the conversation happened? And sometimes, yes, I'm not saying that I haven't known families that are just assholes to their queer kids and vice versa, but like,
it's like doing what I do for the last like 15 years. It's definitely evolved. And it's kind of cool to see now like parents of, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds that are coming to me saying like, we found you because we knew that you were a lesbian or that you were affirming or whatever. And, my child's non-binary or my child's bisexual or gay or whatever. And like 15 years ago, I didn't have parents coming to me with their 12-year-old telling me that they were like non-binary or gay and they wanted to find them affirming care. That wasn't a thing.
Well, it's so, and it's so wild to me too, because like, I mean, I just asked you, I'm like, oh, when did you like realize and come out and all that stuff, right? And like, for me, I've told people like all the time, like I didn't know what it meant, but there was never a time that I wasn't like gay. Does that make sense? Like I, from a very young age, was like, oh yeah, I love playing with these boys at recess. It's fun and this. And then I was like, the girls would be like, oh, so and so cute. I'm like, yeah, they are cute. And they'd be like, huh? Because like growing up, we didn't talk. We didn't talk. Like, I don't think any of us knew that was an option, because the way that they'd make fun of me is like, you're so girly, or tell us a girl, and they'd say that because I was like very effeminate, right? And then it wasn't until like I think I was in 5th or 6th grade, and someone's like, you're gay, and I was like, what the fuck's that? And like, it's like when dudes, like other dudes, I'm like, that's a fucking option? I didn't know. Like, again, growing up in like a rural kind of space in Indiana, didn't even know that was a thing. I don't think I knew a single gay person. And my cousin, who has passed away now, like she's a lesbian and was a lesbian, but I didn't know that she was she. I thought Michelle was a guy, because I would see Michelle with these like kind of lipstick lesbians, and I was like, oh, because that's not a thing. So instead of my brain being like, oh, she's just a very masculine woman with like, I just was like, oh, I guess I've always thought that Michelle was a woman, but I guess Michelle is a man because she's with a woman. Like, that's how deep embedded it was. And I was like, oh, wait, no.
I specifically remember when I was like maybe like 6 or 7, being in my living room and getting like so mad at my mom and being like, Mom, you're a lesbian. But like, I didn't know what it meant. I thought it was like a bad word. And you know what I mean?
In some homes
like,
it is,
you know? Yeah. Like, I was like, I thought that I was like insulting her. I thought I was like calling her this bad word. Like, but I had no idea what it was. I just remember screaming it at her.
The moment I realized what it was, and I was like, and it was used in a negative way. And then we did a brief stint at, I'm going to say the church, Napanee fucking Missionary Church. It's a mega church, and it's so gross. There were signs. We were doing a Bible scavenger hunt. And it's like when they're like, say a verse, and then everyone gets out their Bible and whatever. And
that's absurd, by the way.
And they're like, Psalms, whatever. And so I was going through the book, because like they call you up one at a time, then they time you. And they're like, Psalms, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going through the Bible. And it's like an embarrassing amount of time like embarrassing amount of time. And they're like, do you need help? And I'm like, maybe. And they're like, okay, like look. And I'm looking and I'm looking and I can't find it because I didn't know you spelled Psalms with a P. And so everyone made fun of me for that. And then we played a game of Hangman, but it was like crucified Jesus instead of Hangman.
That's absurd.
It was wild.
Also.
And they're like, okay, now draw his head. I'm like, fuck. And my word was Mary, and they whisper the word in your ear, and then you like do it, right? And like, your word is Mary, like the Virgin Mary or whatever. And so I like put MERY, like the dashes, and I was like, like Jesus's mom, because then you give them clues, like when they're not getting it, and someone's like, do you mean Mary as in the name and not Mary as in Christmas? And I was like, and so this church already bad taste in my mouth, but they were incredibly homophobic. And so not only did I get that like affirmation from like someone staying at school and it was like a bad thing, but then going to this church that like, again, it wasn't like our home church. We had been there for a good time. I was like, ooh, okay, cannot tell people this. So then I feel like it went the opposite way of like, literally would go on like, I think I've told you this before, would go on like AOL chat groups.
Oh yeah,
and be like, I'm here spreading the word of Jesus. I'd go to gay ones though. I'd be like, are you a homo?
God.
Don't do it. Come away
Stop.
from sin. Yeah, all the time, like in middle school.
Oh my God, this is so funny.
So when people are like, I hate this narrative that homophobes are just gay people that are repressed, and I'm like, and was 100% me, like 1,000% me, for a while, like a little too long, probably. Yeah, not proud of that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
no. Yeah, I mean, have you experienced homophobia like in the workplace, as a therapist or as a teacher?
Yeah, as a teacher, yes. One time from a principal, he was just very, very, very fucking weird around me. And I was like, that's odd. Like, but it was like, you just like as queer people, when someone doesn't like you because you're an asshole or someone doesn't like you because you're gay. And there was a few parents that were like this is the weird thing about being in Indiana too. They were never weird like, oh, I don't want a gay person around my kid. Ever. They were just like, I don't like a gay person being gay. Like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was like one time a dad reamed me out for letting his son play with dolls in the classroom. And I was like, okay, toys don't make people gay. And the dad's like, well, because he's like, I don't want him to grow up and be, and then like gestured to me. And I was like, a teacher? And he was like, no, gay. And I was like, okay, so playing with a doll doesn't make someone gay. Like, I didn't get to play with dolls growing up, and I love men. I played with Batman action figures. There's something that's, I feel a little bit more gay playing with like a man in a spandex costume with nipples showing than it is playing with a Barbie. And I was like, also like, did you ever hold your son as a kid? And Dad's like, yeah. I was like, don't you want him to know how to hold a baby? Because these were dolls. And I was like, I'm not going to sit there and tell kids. Like, you would have no problem if your daughter played with the dump truck or the Hot Wheels, but like you're gendering toys. That's weird. And then as a therapist, we had that one client who you were like, he's rough around the edges. He's super sweet though. And I think I like broke him down. Because he was definitely okay with like you, but I think it was different to have a guy. And
no, he would verbalize that. He'd be like, lesbians are okay.
Yeah, because he like fetishized them or whatever. But like,
great.
Yeah. But one of the first sessions, I remember he like made a homophobic joke, and I gave it like the joke right back, and he was like shocked. He's like, "You're what? Therapists aren't supposed to say that." I'm like, you got to have tougher skin if you're gonna throw that at me. And then after that, like it was fine, but. There's been like supervisors here and there, but for the most part, I think that as soon as I find out the space isn't affirming or not like safe for me, I'm like, I'm out. Obviously my boss now isn't an issue because she's a big old lesbian,
That's right. What if you sat here and you're like, my current boss is
super homophobic. She hates it. She's disgusted by it. Splashes holy water on me.
Says that we're going to burn in the eternal flames of hell.
She said that she was like seancing and like cleansing the office because of ghosts, but I'm pretty sure it's
Because of
me.
Yeah.
Gay ghost.
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've made my feelings about Mormons clear before, my fears about how the religion cultivates homophobia and encourages homophobia. And I try not to generalize, but my experience has been negative around, across the board. I do think that there's a lot more support for the anti-gay agenda within the church.
Yeah.
So I've had negative experiences with men at work that I was dating someone at work at the time, so there was a lot of comments being made about that. The way I was treated changed. Things that were my responsibility were taken away from me.
That's wild. Because you're a lesbian, you just can't handle it, you know?
Inappropriate comments. Yep. Sort of this, like, notion of, like, offend, like, almost, like, being offended that, like, I wouldn't be responsive to, like, the male gaze, if you will.
100%, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's so damned if you do, damned if you don't, because they're, like, homophobic men will take it personally that, like, you wouldn't be attracted to them, but then think that every gay man's attracted to them. Like, baby, why do you want people to be attracted to you so bad? Like, you got a wife and kids at home. Chill.
Yeah. And I remember one time I got an email, like, saying something about, it was work related, but it said something about my personal relationship with, now I don't even remember what code name I used for her, but whoever it was, like, in the email. And I was like, on what planet is this appropriate?
Right.
It was a lot. And so,
especially at a workplace, I'm like, I'm here to get paid, baby. Like, I did have a director at a school who I didn't know until I resigned from there 3 years after, being there, that after my interview, when there were 3 directors at the school, they got together, and the one who interviewed me was like, we have to hire my one gay bestie. The woman was like, I think 60 or mid-50s. I'm like, that's a wild comment to make, instead of being like, I think he'd be a good teacher and an asset and this and this. And then when I was there, I think, like, didn't understand that, like, I think that, I mean, I think this is something that both of us do. We are fun, we are this, and then professional at the same time. And I think sometimes people take my funness as unprofessional, and then they're unprofessional with me. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, there are boundaries I will not cross, I got a lot of shit for never recording in my classroom for TikTok and stuff like that. I'm like, because that's not professional. Are you fucking kidding me? And so she would make these, like, we'll call her, I almost said her actual name. We'll call her Joanne. And so Joanne would make these, like, microaggression, like, homophobic comments. And then it just tipped one time when I was talking about growing up, like, essentially, like, what I call Quaker Mennonite, or very liberal hippie Mennonite, not Amish at all. And then and she's like, really? And, like, they're okay with gays? I'm like, where I was, it's the Mennonite, I think the denomination was, like, Mennonite USA, which is affirming. And I was like, yeah, like, they would marry people. I don't know, like, I didn't think it was weird or whatever. And then we were doing, like, an around the world theme, because we were year round. And so in summer, we would, like, shut down for, like, a few days. We would redo the entire school. And then it was, like, a summer camp. It was super fun. And we did, like, different countries. And someone did Australia. And they were talking about fairy bread, which is, like, literally just, like, white bread, butter, and sprinkles. And in front of the entire, like, staff, and I think some parents were there, was like, and Mr. Williams and so-so is going to make fairy bread. But, like, that's what it's actually called. It's not just called that because Mr. Williams is making it. I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like, that's weird. Ugh, yeah.
That's cringy.
And then told me that because I was gay, Puerto Rican, and Mennonite, one time was like, man, you're, like, a gay unicorn. And I was like, are you okay? Like, in what world do you think saying this stuff is appropriate? I, like, the gay unicorn comment and the fairy bread comment, I resigned. I was like, I just can't. Like, this is too much. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a client once. It was maybe like a year ago. They scheduled an evaluation with me. We did like an intro call. And then later they had their mom contact me because they watched like our podcast videos or Instagram or something. And we're like, I'm no longer comfortable because of the content of your podcasts or whatever. I was like, okay. I mean, probably for the best that you previewed it because, I mean, I'm not going to change who I am. So,
and it's like this weird thing. So when I was in grad school, they were like talking to us about like bringing yourself into sessions, right, with clients or whatever. And like that, like, you know, there are certain things that we just need to be aware of going in. And people have asked me all the time, they're like, someone got butthurt online and was like, you make a lot of political stuff, and as a therapist and a social worker, you shouldn't make these online. And I was like, oh, I'm not a therapist and social worker right now. I am someone posting online. And they're like, well, it probably would make someone uncomfortable to come to you if they were like a Republican or MAGA. And I'm like, it is not my job in that sense. Like, if I have never sat with someone, and I've had clients who are Republican, they've never said they were uncomfortable because I don't sit there.
You're not talking about politics.
100%. Like, unless in their session they're really upset about something political, why would I bring up politics in there? And so I remember though in grad school them being like, well, like you just have to look at yourself when you're walking into a room and what you're bringing, and you know, will that make the other person open up to you or whatever. And I was always a big and like I'm my nails are almost done breaking, so I can start repainting them again. But like I always have nail polish on, and they were like, you know, like for example, like you know, I said like I would probably never not take off my nail polish if I was in a space, and they're like, yeah, I mean, and that's just a thing that you decide, correct? And like you know, but like you'd have to ask yourself, like, are you doing that as a way of self-expression, which is totally fine, and is it of detriment to maybe a client who then doesn't want to open up because of your nails? I'm like, then they can go to someone else, because my thing is like, if you're coming to me because you need help with X, Y, Z, right? And when I was at the time, I was working at a like, community health center, so the people didn't really have an option on who was their therapist, right? I can help you, and I can do my job, and you will not know a single thing about me being gay or married or whatever, or you can be hung up that my nails are painted and you can be put back on the wait list for 6 months. I don't know what to to tell you. I think it's one of those things I'm like, I'm not going to bend in that way because if my identity just by walking into a room is making someone uncomfortable, that has nothing to do with me.
That's always been a problem for me because regardless of being a lesbian or not being a lesbian, like I always have my nails done. They're always like flashy. Yeah. I always wear bright colors. I love leopard print. I wear hot pink suits to present. Yeah. And you know, I've had people tell me. Oh, one time a client told me that maybe their kid wasn't responding to me because I had too many earrings in my ears. And my thing has always been like, I can be just as professional as anyone else, regardless of what I'm wearing, correct, what color I have on, how many earrings I have, if my nose is pierced, like if I have tattoos, like that says nothing about my level of professionalism whatsoever. No. That just shows that I'm going to express myself the way that I want to, and I'm not going to conform to societal norms.
Well, and I think professionalism is like rooted in classism and racism, right? Like when people are, that's not professional. And like I said before, like I feel like we have aligned with this and professionalism, but like even to say, especially with attire, I have a really hard time talking about professionalism in that because I'm like, well, what do you deem to be professional? Because where's that rooted in, and why did we decide what was professional? Yeah, why did we decide what was professional, what was not professional? You know what I mean? Because I'm like,
I wore straight up sweatpants and a t-shirt to work yesterday because I was like not having it, and I was like, whatever. I mean,
I wore when I went to DC and I bought another one. I was gonna wear it today, but then Pride. So, but it's a matching set, like a sweatshirt set, that I love. And when I wore it, people were like, "You dress so nice." And I'm like, "This is a it's a sweatsuit, babe." Like, I think that's, I when people are coming to us as therapists, we see them at their highs and their lowest lows, and I don't think they give two shits if they're a therapist in sweats. If anything, I feel like it's like it makes them feel like they are talking to a human and not to a I've told you before, like, you know, a overly clinical person who's like writing for their dissertation.
And honestly, if there are people that their level of comfort and faith in a provider lies in
earrings,
what they're wearing, or what they look like. Like my personality is not going to be a good fit to them either because I'm like a straight shooter. I'm going to just like say it like it is in colloquial language. That's, you know, so it's not going to be a good fit anyway. So
I think that's like something that I wish more queer people would like. As long as the place is safe for you, like both physically and emotionally, like you don't have to like sit there and like swallow and repress so much. Like I don't know. It's like there's so many times I'm like looking at people, I'm like, why don't you feel like you can show up in your own skin? You know, and like I said, there are places that you can't. I get that. And other times I'm just like, is that a societal rule at your workspace that's been set, or is that kind of an internalized like homophobic thing? You know, like. These like overly masculine gay men who are like, well, I just like am like super mask, and I'm like, baby, you're booty bumping to Charlie XCX, like, calm down. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just like it's like this weird, like you said, it's like patriarchy, but I don't love it. It's so strange.
It is really strange, but I don't know. I think that there are people that respond well to someone just like expressing themselves the way they want to, and like sometimes I wear makeup and sometimes I don't wear makeup, and you know, always on the days I do wear makeup, people are like, oh my god, you look so nice today, and I'm like, what do I look like on the other day?
It's like that's literally just because I'm wearing makeup. Like, or like when people, I love it when people tell me, it's like in the movie Stepmom, when people are like, you look so tired, and I'm like, I'm not. I literally left work one time when I was teaching because the director came and she's like, "Oh, you don't look like you feel good." And I thought I looked great. And she's like, you just don't look like you feel good. And I was like, I don't. I think I need to go home. Like I felt great. I felt like I looked great that day too. And I was like, I'm joking. I guess I was kidding. Like I look like a goddamn dead fish or something.
When people say that to me, I'm like, it's just my genetic dark under eye circles.
That's all. Sorry, I didn't put concealer on today or whatever. Oh. That's so funny.
All the filler in the world can't fix that.
God, don't I know that though. I actually am like hesitant to go and get anything under eye done again. Not because like they did a bad job, but because I didn't like it on myself. And so I was like, maybe I'm just like okay with that. I just don't like my angry 11 moment here. But everything else, I'm like,
why don't you get Botox in it?
I do. I haven't gone in a hot second because I had an appointment 2 weeks ago. But then Jason was leaving my husband was leaving for a trip not even a trip, school. And so I was like, you can take that. Because he was up the week after, but then he would have gone Botox and gone on the plane the next day. And he was like, I don't want to do that. Because they wouldn't have said it anyway. So I was like, you can take my appointment. I'll book one. So I need to do that.
So generous. I did get PRP in my under eyes, like the platelet-rich plasma, where they like take your blood and then they like swirl it into whatever shit they swirl it into. And it's supposed to like build collagen or something. I don't know. Something like that. So it's not like filler for your under eye.
It's like your own shit.
Yeah, it's your own shit.
It's what's it called? Organic.
Yeah, right.
So I made a list. I don't know why. Last night I could not sleep, and I made a list of things that feel homophobic but aren't. So like I said, like microaggressions. Okay. I want to see if you've experienced any of these. When a waiter hands your straight friend the cocktail but you the beer, you probably haven't.
No.
Had that happen. When a clothing store employee says the whatever gender section is over there. So like the amount of times I've been at like when I used to go to Target and they'd be like, do you know how to find the men's section? I'm like, no, the men's section doesn't have cute tank tops like this, you stupid bitch. I think that's one thing like I've always been like so jealous about is that like I feel like if you were in the men's section, people would be like they wouldn't bat an eyelash.
Yeah, they'd be like she's shopping for her husband.
100%. But when a guy's and like they think that like they're like the patron saint of like dumb men who are like, do you need help shopping for something? I'm like, I'm not looking for my wife. I'm looking for me.
In general, I hate when employees of any store ask me if I need help.
No.
I will ask you if I need
totally
help.
Come up
Please
to you
leave
and
me alone.
Yeah.
You coming up to me is not going to make me buy more.
I would only
Please leave.
I would only go up to people and ask if they need help if I thought they were cute and wanted to talk to them.
Yeah. Well, I never worked retail because I wouldn't want to talk to anyone.
No, after a while they just put me in front as a greeter because
That's why I did work at Michael Kors for a season, but that's only because I owned everything in the store, so it was really easy for me to sell stuff.
You're like, I actually have this too. They're on discount. You're like, no, I bought it before working here, but when your family says we just want you to be happy, and the tone that they use when they talk about putting their dogs down.
That's definitely happened to me.
I was giggling. I was like, what is wrong with you? When people ask if your partner's your roommate.
Oh, yeah.
But your partner was your roommate.
Or when you describe your partner as your roommate. That was always the thing when I worked at the eating disorder program, and people would come in talking about their roommate, and I'm like, ma'am.
Your
and
roommate.
They'd be like, Amory, you have to lesbian whisper this again. And I'm like, let's talk about your roommate. Yeah.
That you share a one-bedroom apartment with. And clothes.
Yeah. And 6 months later, you were engaged too.
With you haul's in trouble, I guess.
Yeah.
We can't make. I know you've gotten this one. When someone says you don't look gay.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I don't think I've ever gotten that. But it feels like something, I don't know.
Yeah.
I put it down.
That along with people talking about my husband.
And you're like, no.
All the time. If you and your husband want to come, blah, 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 because, we're buying a house. So it'll be like, well, when your husband, blah, 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 or I can meet with you and your husband. And
right.
I'm like, you're going to be sorely disappointed when I show up.
And don't have a husband.
And my husband looks like Megan Fox.
Yeah, right. It's like, you're going to be very confused.
Yeah.
No, I think that, as gay as I am, I've had, not you don't look gay, I've had just the assumption of wife. And sometimes I was like, maybe, this was only in Indiana, though. It's never in Pennsylvania. And I think it was almost like, so he'll say husband. I was like, there's no way that they can think that. But then there are times, especially when teaching, where the mom and grandparent would come in for a parent-teacher conference, and one time a grandma was trying to get the mom to get my number or whatever, and I was like, ma'am, I'm super gay. I don't know what about the voice and my nails being painted didn't give that away, but that's fine. When someone starts a compliment with no offense, but, and then it ends with you slay. I don't know. I'm dumb. I was so tired when I wrote these. This one killed me. I'm so sorry. When straight men refuse to hug you but do a podcast together where they accidentally sit thigh to thigh on every thumbnail.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
There's something so weird about seeing how gay men or how straight men and straight women respond to people that are gay, right? Won't hug, but then I'm like, I've seen you kiss your best straight friend. That's gay. It's just because you say no homo before doing it doesn't make it any less gay. Or straight women being feeling weird that they call someone pretty and they find out she's a lesbian. They're like, well, I didn't mean it like that. It's okay. Yeah. I don't know. When someone says, you guys are just so much fun to be around. Especially straight women love to see that. When your landlord says no pets or partners on the lease.
Oh my God.
I think that was all of them. When a bachelorette party invades your favorite gay bar, it's a Six Flags attraction.
That always is very weird to me.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
And it's always well, we just want to go dance without men hitting on us. And I was like, first of all, there's straight men here. I've never been to a gay bar where there hasn't been a straight guy that went with his friends, which again, even so, because always the straight guys are I'm just here trying to pick up women. I'm like, why are you going? I don't know. Just don't go. I would never go to a sports bar. That's a straight man space. I could never.
Yeah. Oh, another weird thing, and I think this still happens. When I worked for an organization and we would go to conferences or trips or whatever, they would make you share a room.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you only have same-sex roommates. You realize that doesn't reduce your liability at all.
No.
So either we can room with any gender.
Right.
Or you can have your own room. So I ended up saying to them, I was like, unless you want to have a sexual harassment lawsuit or something, I feel like I should probably have my own room because how am I going to protect myself?
Well, you never know if you're going to, I always thought this was so weird. You never know if potentially you'll be partnered with someone who's like super homophobic.
Yeah.
And so anything that you do in that room, they'll be like, they were hitting on me or whatever. And then on the opposite side of that, like, you don't necessarily want a room with a dude who's gonna get, like, be drunk or whatever. Like that, you don't. I don't know. It's just weird. It's so that is always
poor
been so
company
weird to
practice.
Just
like,
get them.
Get 2 rooms.
It's like to save a quick buck, ma'am. Like that's wild. Because like if anything were to happen, you're gonna have wish you would have spent just essentially double the amount so that you're not paying 100 times the amount because you have a lawsuit. No, that's always been so weird to me. Like,
and it's very heteronormative and really irritates me.
I think like colleges and stuff like that. Like my roommate was a little homophobic my freshman year. Like eventually kind of, I think I like wore him down. I don't know what he's doing now. He's probably super homophobic again. I feel like I can like.
Or gay.
Or that too though. But like I wanted a room with my bestie so bad of like, I think we've been friends for like 28 years now, but like we couldn't. And so we moved off campus, then we roomed together because I was like, no, but like she's a lesbian. She wasn't out yet. Now she is and married. And I was out. And I'm like, we'll be fine. We would have been fine. We would have been much better off if we were just like kikiing. And we've been way more fun.
True.
Oh my God.
Is there anything better than like realizing someone that was homophobic is then like gay when you see them like 10 or 20 years later? It's like my favorite thing ever.
So many people I went to high school with. Either they're gay now or they're like super liberal. And I'm like, I am so big on like, I love that you did your healing, but I don't want to be a part of your life now or part of it at all. So there's sometimes I like walk in. I'll call him Neckbeard, but you know who I'm talking about. He was one of my biggest bullies. And Neckbeard, I was at the like, local watering hole one time over Thanksgiving, and it couldn't have been nicer to me. I'm like, you made me want to not be alive, sir. You were horrific. And now you're just like, I love the stuff that you're doing. And like, this, and I go to Pred and like, cool bitch. Like, I'm glad you like genuinely made these changes, but like, I don't want to be friends with you still.
Yeah.
You gave me a tiara at homecoming. That's unforgivable. And not even a cute one. I like it.
Lauren texted me, maybe it was last year. I don't know. We were talking about it recently though. And my old boss came up to her at Wegmans with her lesbian lover. I was like, that's
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's nothing more that I love than being like, guess who's gay?
I know.
Like,
it's amazing.
It's so fun. And I'm like, called it, knew it. I know people probably did that with me when like, after I left high school and shit, but duh. Like, what is, in closing, what is like one thing, a piece of advice you'd give to the gays out there or to people who aren't out yet?
I think for me, it's always been about figuring out how to accept who I am and making sure that what I'm putting out to the world is authentic. While also like feeling safe. Yeah. So I think that like employing guidance, whether it's from a therapist, from like older, queer friends, family members, whatever, people who've gone before you, some of us who have like lived in times that were more difficult, our generation and the generation above us. Yeah. I really do think that it's a community that can help like guide younger people coming in. That I joke about the JoJo thing, but I really do think she probably could have used guidance from some of us, elder millennials in the queer community.
Right. That I've experienced. No, I agree. I think mine is like kind of echoes that. Is that like I do understand like the privilege I had of having a pretty accepting family. And I know that's like a whole what's it called? Cliche, but like you can choose your family. And I think that's an important thing too of like you can pick people and choose people and meet people and create that community that becomes a family. And while it might be difficult at first, especially if you work close to them to make that change, sometimes it can just feel a hell of a lot better and more healing too. Yeah. You have family out there. I'll be your
we'll
your
be
fun
your
uncle.
Family. I love being the fun aunt.
I know. It's like I love just spoiling and buying gifts and paying for random shit or sending copious amounts of candy. Like
love.
It's fun. Let us know what you're doing for Pride, what Pride festivals you might be going to, or just like tell us your coming out story. I love hearing those. I don't know why. I absolutely love them. But like, subscribe, share all that shit that we ask you to do, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.